gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages.
Hello there, everyone. Welcome back to another edition of the My Two Cents podcast, presented by and hosted by G2. I am G2. This is episode 231 of the podcast. And first off, I would like to welcome our first-time listeners and welcome back to all the returning listeners to this program. And I would like to tell everyone what this program is. The My Two Cents Sunday edition is about me, G2, talking to you guys about everything that happened in the world. I talk about some of the big headlines that came about in the world, and I just give you a recap of those news stories, and I give my opinion on those news stories. And the reason why I do this is because people are living their lives every day, and I have a feeling that people don't really check out the news. And I understand why they don't, because the news could be sad, but you do need to know what's going on in the world. And I understand that everyone is trying to get by every day, because I'll say about a good 99.99% of the world isn't rich. So I'm doing this basically for everybody. I'm doing this so everyone can get informed, everyone will know what's going on, and also you can get an opinion of someone that's just a people watcher, if you will. So that's the reason why I do this broadcast. That's the reason why I do this podcast, my Sunday edition. I just basically try to keep everybody informed. Okay? Now, with that stated, I do want everyone to know this. We are in June. This is Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. So please, not just the men, everyone, look after your mental health. Look after your physical health as well, but mental health. Because when your mental goes down, it affects your body. And as I said in my previous Sunday episodes, stress comes along with your mental health, and I don't want people to end up being stressed a lot. I know being stressed is a part of living, but there's a limit that you can take of being stressed out, okay? I don't want people to be overstressed, because stress is a thing that I feel is a silent killer. It's taking people out left and right, along with anything that you're dealing with physical wise. If you're hurt and injured, if you're stressed out over that, your injury won't heal up as fast. If you're sick, guess what? If you're stressing out, you won't heal up as fast as well, and you go to an early grave, and I don't want people to do that. So please do not stress out over things a lot. Please handle yourself, take care of yourself, and look after your physical and mental health. Please do that, okay? Because you only got one life to live on this earth. At least that's what they always say. I don't know if reincarnation is a real life thing, but I'm going to go with the premise that if we only live on this earth for one life, please take care of yourself, because this is the only time you actually do have this go around. So please try to take care of yourself as much as you can, and don't stress out over things you cannot control, and do not stress over things in general as much. All right. Now, with that stated, I want to move over to our National Food Days of the week. Today being June 8th, it is Jelly-Filled Donut Day. June 9th will be International Lemon Drizzle Cake Day, as well as Strawberry Rhubarb Pie Day. June 10th will be Iced Tea Day. June 11th will be Corn on the Cob Day, as well as German Chocolate Cake Day. June 12th will be Peanut Butter Cookie Day, as well as Falafel Day. Nothing for June 13th, and then to round us out, June 14th will be Strawberry Shortcake Day. Now, with the National Food Days out the way, now it's time for me to move on to the condolences part of the show. First condolence I do want to give is to the family of Kadia Lewis, that was a reality TV star of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. She has passed away at the age of 44. Lewis's brother would confirm the news on social media, well, with a Facebook post, saying, "Been at a loss for words for some days now, and to think that I've ever had the words to describe the person you've been and the legacy that you left behind would be erroneous. You left behind a legacy most individuals can only dream of. Thank you for loving me the way that you did and always having my back no matter what. God bless me when he made me your baby brother, and for that, I am eternally grateful. You are forever on my mind and in my heart. I love you. Long live my sister, Kadia Lewis." At the time of this recording, there has been no cause of passing for Miss Lewis, but I will say that at the age of 44, that is extremely young. I mean, it's not young, it's 20-somethings, but 44, that is still young in the retrospect of when someone's supposed to go. And again, there has been no information about what happened here. The family probably knows what's going down, but whenever they're ready to inform everybody of what happened, that's whenever it will come to pass. But age of 44, that's young, but again, rest in peace to Miss Kadia Lewis. Now, the next condolence that I will be bringing to you all right now comes from a news story that ABC would write about, and it's about a 9-year-old boy who allegedly shot his 5-year-old sister with his dad's AR-style rifle. The article will read, a 9-year-old boy allegedly accidentally shot and killed his 5-year-old sister with his father's AR-style rifle, according to police and court documents. Their father, 33-year-old Irvin Ramos Jimenez, told police he was out front of his Phoenix home Tuesday night when he heard a loud bang inside, according to the probable cause statement. He said he ran into his son's room where he found his daughter with a gunshot wound to her torso, the document said. Ramos told police he and his girlfriend rushed the little girl to a psychiatric center to meet an ambulance. He said he dropped off his daughter and the girlfriend, then drove back home where his children had been left unattended with a gun, the document said. Ramos said he stored his weapon in the top shelf of his son's bedroom, adding that his son must have grabbed the gun, according to the probable cause statement. Ramos has been arrested for possession of a weapon by a prohibited person, Phoenix police said. Ramos was convicted in 2021 of transporting and or trafficking narcotics, according to court documents. He's barred from having a firearm, and he told police he bought the AR-style rifle through a private sale for personal protection, the probable cause document said. We ask all gun owners to ensure that all guns are stored in a location, preferably a secure safe out of reach of all children in the home of who may visit. Phoenix Police Sergeant told ABC News via email no family should ever have to endure the loss of a child in circumstances like this. So, again, I do want to give condolence to the 5-year-old and also to the father. Let's not get this misconstrued. Nobody who has a gun in their home should ever have the gun in a child's room. Let me make that perfectly clear. It should be locked away in the parents' room or locked away in some type of safe or stored away somewhere that the kids can never ever find it, because kids are going to be crafty. Kids are going to be inquisitive and try to look for things when they know things might be somewhere. Okay? Kids are going to do that. And in this instance right here, this happened to just turn out deadly. And again, I do want to give condolence to the father, because he did lose a daughter, even through his own stupidity, because again, he did not put the gun away somewhere secure and safe. It was on the top shelf of his son's bedroom. I want to further say that again. The gun was in the top shelf of his son's bedroom, not in his room, not in a safe, not somewhere that they didn't know about it. It was in the son's top shelf of the bedroom. I do want to make that perfectly clear, but I still feel sorry for the father because he had to lose a daughter. This is going to be a hard lesson and a hard pill for him to swallow because of his own ignorance. And I also feel sorry for the brother who happened to cause this incident. Being 9 and doing something like this to your sister who you will never ever be able to see again, this boy is going to have some trauma. He's going to really have some trauma. I'm hoping that his mother, because they said that he was with his father, the father was with his girlfriend, so I'm hoping that his mom probably has him, or grandparents. Whoever has the 9-year-old boy can get this boy into some type of therapy and just look after him and just tell him that it wasn't his fault in some type of way. Don't try to say this is all your fault, this is your fault. No, make this again clear. Yes, the boy might have pulled the trigger, and this is all allegedly here, but that gun should have never been in his room at all. The father should have placed it somewhere where the boy didn't know where it was. Nobody should have knew where it was except for him. And if the boy would have gotten it from that secure place, not in his room, but in like the parents' room or in a safe or something like that, then you could say, no, that boy went to go look for that. So right here, just on the basis of what we know right now, I'm hoping that this 9-year-old boy gets told, hey, this isn't your fault. Hey, you're going to go, we're going to get you some help. We're going to get you some type of therapy for this something. I'm hoping that there is a legit figure to really look after this kid, because this is going to suck. This is going to play with him mentally wise, that he's no longer going to be having his sister. I still feel sorry for the father, because this is going to be a hard lesson and a hard pill for him to swallow. This is going to be one that is going to hit him deep, and it's also going to hit his son, the 9-year-old, deep. So I am giving condolences to, again, that family, and I'm hoping that this is a PSA for every gun owner that has a gun inside their home that just lollygag within. They just have it in a spot and not in a gun safe or something like that. Please get your gun, put it inside a safe, or put it inside your home that is a secure and safe place away from your kids, that your kids do not know about it. And again, further along than that, put it in a gun safe. Do something that you know that it's locked away and stored away, that your kids can't get to it. That's what I'm trying to get at with this, because this right here is a case that I feel that every gun owner should know about, and they should be well adjusted to know about, and say this could happen to you if you just put your gun somewhere that it shouldn't be. Because again, no gun should be in their child's room at all. But I'm not going to harp too much on that. Again, the father's going to have to deal with that. But again, I do give condolences to that family, to the 5-year-old that lost her life. That sucks. To the father that has learned this hard lesson, it sucks. And to that 9-year-old boy who's going to need a lot of help in the future. Moving off of that, onto the other condolences I do want to bring to you. And this one is, again, another one that's making news waves right now, because we are, at the time of this recording, there's a manhunt on the way for a father who happened to, and this is all alleged right here, allegedly to have killed his 3 daughters. And that was hard for me to even say that out of my own mouth. That's crazy to even say. There's a news story going around right now that there's a man named Travis Decker who is wanted by authorities for charges that includes 3 counts of first-degree murder after his 3 daughters were found dead Tuesday, apparently suffocated at Rock Island Campground in Washington. The case is being investigated by the police department, and the sheriff told reporters on Thursday that Decker, who previously served in the U.S. Army, would sometimes go off the grid for more than 2 months at a time. Authorities are exploring the possibilities that Decker may have prepared to hide out in the wilderness, including stashing supplies for his later use, which would make it more difficult to find him. Now, that's one account. Now, I do want to read you something here, and this is still going back to ABC News. Decker had an ex-wife, and the ex-wife's attorney would speak to ABC News and is saying that the system failed Decker. Decker's ex-wife's attorney would say that Decker lacked mental health resources and struggled with post-traumatic stress disorder. Decker, as they already have noted, he is a former member of the military. He struggled with mental health issues, including PTSD, and was unable to receive help through veteran resources. The courts didn't fail these girls. It wasn't the judge. It wasn't Whitney. It was our system. Whitney feels that the system really let Travis down. If somebody would have provided Travis with the help that he needed, those girls would be alive. The attorney would further on say, but before the girls disappeared last week, there were no red flags. He had some mental health issues and some instability in his life that really led to the restrictions as far as overnight visitation or him taking them out of the area. But other than that, he loved those girls very much, and him and Whitney were able to communicate on a regular basis, not just as co-parents, but as friends, the attorney would state. again, first off, condolences to the ex-wife, the mother of the 3 daughters that happened to pass away. Let's make that perfectly clear. It sucks. It is horrendous to know that your person that you created 3 children with allegedly is responsible for doing this action and is on the run right now. That has to suck. And for her to not technically, or we can say not, we say her because her attorney speaking. So I will only think he is speaking for her on this. So let me make that perfectly clear. For her to feel that is not his fault, quote unquote, it's the system's fault, that tells you something. Let me make this clear. I do not condone what happened here. If it was the ex-husband that did this, and again, it is alleged because I got to go with the allegedly here. If the ex-husband did do this crime and happened to kill his 3 little girls, that's deplorable. There's nothing that you can do, nothing you can say about this. There's nothing that you can have a redeeming quality about this at all. The only way, and I'm going to say this, the only way that I think anyone's going to have their mind switched about this is if the man happens to do himself in. And I'm not talking about give himself into the system. I'm talking about the other way of do himself in. And they start looking at his brain. And if they happen to look at his brain and they see that he had Alzheimer's and he had something that isn't correlating to the brain of how old is this guy? He was supposed to be 30 what? I think he's supposed to be like 30 something. If his brain isn't the brain of a 30 something man, oh, he's 32. If his brain isn't the brain of a 32-year-old man, then that's the only way I can see there'll be like some people probably turning the tides and think about like, he wasn't in his right mind when he did this. And I'll hearken this to a case that happened almost 20 years ago. And if you are a wrestling, if you know wrestling, you know exactly this case I'm going with here. Chris Benoit, professional wrestler, he passed away almost 20 years ago. And in his passing, there was a weekend that he killed himself, his wife, and his son. And when the news broke out, everyone was disgusted. Everyone looked at it as a deplorable act, which it still is a deplorable act. Okay. But then his brain got brought over to looked at, and they found out that his brain was not the brain of I believe Chris was at probably early 40. His brain was of an old, I believe 70 to 80s type of Alzheimer's patient type brain. His brain was like mush. So they really tried to say that contributed to him having that snap off and killing his wife and his kid. And also because of the steroids and all that type of stuff that he ingested into his body, that probably played a factor too. And at first, when that news came about, everyone was disgusted in Chris and all that. Nobody ever wanted to speak about Chris Benoit's name ever again. And then as years come about and more details start coming about, people learn about CTE, people start learning about how to take care of the brain and all that. It seems that the tide has turned and now people have been able to actually talk about Chris Benoit more frequently. And what I'm saying is, because I don't want to turn this into a wrestling talk, what I'm saying is, if his brain, this man Decker, if, again, he happens to do himself in and they look into it, if his brain is of a 30-some-odd-year-old man and there's nothing really wrong with it, then guess what? There's nothing to escape. There's nothing to say about this. This was a deplorable act of someone that there's no way you should have did this to your kids, did this to your 3 kids at all. At all. Now, if he happens to do himself in and again, they happen to look at his brain and they see something was wrong and all that type of stuff, then that's whenever people are going to have the difference of opinion and they're actually going to put a lot of blame onto the legal system and onto the VA system, the Veterans Resource System. And again, I have to kind of inject myself into this as well. I done a capstone on people in the VA. I've talked to service members, men and women, and talked about them not getting help from the veteran resource places. People not really looking after them the way they think they should be looked after when they come back, and all these things. I did capstones on this, so I've had actually some knowledge in this area. I feel that the government, the veteran resource places, aren't the top of the line places where vets should be getting help. Yes, if you can get help from them, you're going to have to really put the screws into the system to make sure they give it to you. But when they start giving you help, I would say take it for as much as you can, but also try to look for some out resource for some help in this situation. Because again, the government doesn't want to give you so much. They only will give you only what they want to give you until you again put foot to neck and then make them change their whole about face and do all this type of stuff. But long story less long, for the ex-wife not to blame her ex-husband here, technically, for the deaths of their 3 daughters, I find that remarkably strong of her. And again, she is speaking through the attorney, because I don't know why an attorney would speak about this unless it's on the behalf of his client. I want to stop right here for a moment. I just caught myself saying his client so much. It's not a his, it's a her. The ex-wife's attorney is a female, so I do want to correct myself on that. And again, I always got to catch myself when I say something or when I make a mistake. I always want to kind of course correct it and correct it in real time. So let me correct this right now in real time. The ex-wife attorney is a female, but long story less long, let's put a bow on this tragic incident. If the ex-wife is saying that the system failed, and if that the system would have given her ex-husband some help and some resources, then her 3 children would be alive. That needs to be a top priority for future vets and current vets right now. And people at the top, I don't care what type of issues you're having, because I'm about to talk about the people at the top in a minute. I don't care what type of issues you guys are having at the moment. You guys should kind of sort that out when you got time. Look after your vets. Look after the people that actually did fight for the country, do all the stuff that you needed to do for our country to constantly go about instead of being taken over by another country or by a dictator. You need to look after the vets when they come back, or the vets' families that are here, and the vets that are, or the active servicemen that are fighting now or enlisted now. You need to look after their families that are here instead of just rushing them off, because a lot of vets and a lot of active members, families are being brushed off by our current system right now. It's a travesty. It's nasty business, and I don't like it. And again, Travis Decker, at the time of this recording, he is still out and about. I don't know where he's at. If he happens to, again, do himself in, I would suggest they need to look at his brain so they can really look at it and see what type of condition his brain was in. But please give condolences to the Travis Decker's ex-wife, Whitney Decker. And again, I do feel sorry for her, and I hope that she goes through the stages of grief. I'm hoping that she doesn't hold on to this anger. I know she's going to be angry for some time, but I'm hoping that the mother doesn't hold on to the anger forever and dies with the anger. But yeah, rest in peace to the 3 daughters, rest in peace to the 5-year-old girl, rest in peace to Miss Lewis. And I just want everyone to understand, again, life is precious. You have no idea when your time is going to be called. So please do not try to hold on to a grudge that doesn't matter. And please just try to keep in contact with people that you actually do care about. That's what I will say with that. Now, moving off of that, here's a hope spot here. Sports Illustrated will write up an article about longtime ESPN Sports Center anchor announces he has prostate cancer. Jay Harris, a longtime Sports Center anchor, announced Thursday morning that he has prostate cancer and will be undergoing surgery next week, stating on Good Morning America, "I'm having surgery on Tuesday. I'll be away from Sports Center for about a month to recover. Then I'm coming back better than ever." He has been with ESPN since 2003, has been an anchor for Sports Center for most of his time with the network. He said this doctor thinks that full recovery should be possible. "My doctor is quite optimistic. From my last scan, nothing has spread. So once we take out the prostate, hopefully that will be it." So I'm hoping that Jay Harris makes a full recovery from the surgery. And again, let this be a PSA to all the guys out there in the age range that they're supposed to be getting their prostate checked at, and which I think is supposed to be like in your 40s and upwards. Get yourself checked out. I know that listen, I don't think I'm ever going to have that prostate test happen, if I'm going to be honest with you. I would rather have them try to figure out a different way to figure out if I have prostate cancer. I don't think I'm ever going to do that testing like that. I'm going to hope before I get to the age of 40 something, I'm hoping they find out a different way to determine that. But if they got to go through that old route to do it, and you know what route I'm talking about, I would say just let them do it and just, hey man, it's better to be safe than sorry, because it's better to know about it and get an early detection of it so you can take care of it rather than get a late diagnosis and it's already spread and there's nothing you can do about it. All right. So once again, I'm hoping that Jay Harris is going to make it out of this and his surgery is successful. Now, moving off of this, it's now time to get into political news, and boy, do I hate it when I got to do this, but this was the big thing that kind of took over, I want to say, from the middle of the week to where we're at right now. And it's more based on Donald Trump and Elon Musk basically just going at one another. And I want to make this PSA right here. Anything that I'm about to say, political news, is not, I have no political agenda to Republican Party or Democrat Party. I am a man that thinks for himself. So all the thoughts and opinions that you're about to hear are coming directly from the mind of G2, Gerald Garrett. No more, no less. Again, no agendas being pushed from any political side. I am my own man. I have my own thinking. And that's all I want to say for that PSA right now. So let's get right into it. Donald Trump, Elon Musk. There has been a back and forth between each men this week. And I just want to read you something from the Telegraph. Telegraph will write up an article saying Elon Musk stated that Donald Trump should be impeached. Elon Musk has called for the impeachment of Donald Trump after claiming the president is named in secret files that the U.S. government holds on the disgraced pedophile, Jeffrey Epstein. The world's most powerful men entered a war of words in full public view on Thursday, trading barbs from their respective social platforms. The Tesla boss responded yes to a user on X who wrote Trump should be impeached and J.D. Vance should replace him. Mr. Trump, in turn, threatened to cancel all of Tesla and SpaceX owners' government contracts, while Mr. Musk said he will decommission his Dragon spacecraft, which is used by NASA to deliver and collect astronauts from the International Space Station. The president's aides arranged a flurry of meetings to address the fallout, with White House staff reportedly preparing to force allies to pick sides between the president and his former advisor, according to New York Times. An administration official said Mr. Musk is clearly having an episode. Steve Bannon, Mr. Trump's former advisor, encouraged the president to initiate a formal investigation into Mr. Musk's immigration status and have him deported from the country immediately. So you had a bunch of people just basically trying to suck off Trump here. Okay, let me just start off right there, all right? This all started because there was some type of bill that was supposed to pass that Musk felt that, nah, that ain't right. It ain't good, and it's supposed to, I think it's supposed to give him some type of tax. It's supposed to tax him, not give him a tax exempt. That's my best understanding of that, and he didn't like it. All right? He didn't like it, not one bit. So that's where we start getting into the war of words between Elon Musk and Donald Trump. And let me say this right now. I think this whole thing is a farce. I think this is something to keep the regular people occupied. I think there's something behind the scenes that hasn't been really focused in on yet. Again, you had a guy, and I'm going to state this again, in Elon Musk, that you gave him authority to run a group in your administration that was supposed to look into things to see how can we gain money back from different situations. How can we decrease? How can we take away all these different things? That's the division that you gave him, quote unquote Doge. That's what you did. He worked with you from when you got into office. That was around January until I want to say late last week, which was the end of May, right? So that is a good starting in January. So that's January, February, March, April, May. That's about 5 months. 5 months he was working with you. He knew what to do. He started to ask for certain things, which, by the way, I do want to make you guys known about this too. The Independent will write about this. Doge will be allowed to access Social Security data for now. Supreme Court would rule. The Department of Government Efficiency will be permitted to access sensitive Social Security data while litigation over the matter continues. The U.S. Supreme Court set an order on Friday, lifted an injunction that lower court judge placed to protect the privacy of the Americans. The conservative wing of the court agreed the Doge staffers assigned to the Social Security Administration need to access the information to perform their jobs. We conclude that under the present circumstances, SSA may proceed to afford members of the Doge team access to the agency records in question in order for those members to do their jobs, the justices wrote in an unsigned order. So that was one of the things that Elon Musk wanted to have or look into while he was running Doge, by the way, to go into people's Social Security and look at people's stuff, which I remember me talking about that on here, and I said, I hope that does not pass, because that will be nasty work. There should be no reason why they should be looking into people's Social Security stuff at all. I don't see why that should be allowed, personally. I don't. Now, if a person has passed away and they're somehow having their family collect on their Social Security, yes, you can clip that. That's fine. It's all within your bounds and within your reach. That's what you do. Cool. But if someone is alive and they're collecting Social Security and they are in a predicament that they're in, there's nothing that you could do about it. They should be left alone. But again, with this current administration, the way they are cutting things and the way that I mentioned last Sunday, how this current administration is trying to cut, they're trying to cut something else. I believe it was funding from NPR, PBS, and some type of programs that would affect our outreach to other countries with helping their people. They're trying to cut back on that. If they get their hands on Social Security, which they are able to access now, what makes you think they won't start clipping at people's Social Security stuff now? That's something that, again, I don't think people really talk about like that. That should be on people's minds instead of this whole Elon Musk, Donald Trump thing. This is why I say this is nothing but a charade. This is nothing but a big smoke and mirrors game to me. Yes, I talked about it at the beginning of it, but I mention it just to show you how this is nothing but a big smoke and mirror. Something is going on behind the scenes that they're not really saying to the people like that, or if they did, they probably had it ran on one of those lower thirds for the news like that, or they just made it in a small news clip, but that's about it. You have heard more about Donald Trump and Elon Musk going back to back, and I just find it complete nonsense, okay? It's complete and utter nonsense. Once again, when you're in the stage or in the game of politics, there is something bigger at foot. Not everything is as clear cut as you would think it should be. As it should be, to be honest with you. government should be clear cut. Everybody should see what's going on. Everyone should at least have a basic common knowledge of what the government is, what it does. But as we all know, that's not the case. Government is politic games, and a lot of people are nasty with the politic games. And again, long story less long here. Elon Musk, Donald Trump, I think this is a facade. I think this is a smoke show. They're trying to hide something. And again, I don't like what is being hidden from the people. Again, the Social Security thing, that should be talked about way more than this, but we'll see what happens around that time. And also, with more information that's come out now, Donald Trump has announced a travel ban on nations, and that has caused some uproar too. NBC News will write about Trump's travel ban and the roaring that's coming back from it. They will say that Trump cited national security and terrorism concerns Wednesday as motivating factors behind the ban on nationals, largely from Africa and Asia, triggering reactions from representatives of those countries from weary diplomacy to downright anger. Chad, a country in Central Africa that is among the countries hit with a travel ban, quickly issued a reciprocal restriction on issuing visas to U.S. citizens. Chad had no plans to offer, no billions of dollars to give, but Chad has its dignity and pride, the president wrote Thursday on Facebook. Trump's new order affects a patchwork of 19 countries, some of them banned for the first time, for reasons that the administration said included high risk of visas, overstays, lack of appropriate screening and vetting measures, and allegedly being sponsors of terrorism. So I'm going to try to list you off the names for the places that have been banned and some partial bans for some of them as well. Now, the 12 countries that will be barred from entering the United States are Afghanistan, Myanmar, Chad, Republic of Congo, Equatorial Guinea, Eritrea, Haiti, Iran, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and Yemen. Now, the places which have partial bans are Burundi, Cuba, Laos, Sierra Leone, Togo, Turkmenistan, and Venezuela. They will say after the Trump administration canceled a special visa program with Venezuela on Wednesday, the country's interior minister described the U.S. government as fascist, adding that they persecute our countrymen, our people, for no reason. The truth is being in the United States is a big risk for anybody, not just for Venezuelans, he said during a weekly show on state television. So, this is what the outcome right now is happening. There's partial bans, there's bans. Listen, I just once again hope that whoever truly is running the show at the top, not just what we see in front of our eyes, I'm talking about the people behind closed doors, the shaking of hands that diplomats and all these people make. I'm hoping that whoever is really running the show here knows what they're doing, because right now I still say we still haven't even hit a whole year yet of Trump being in office for the second term. We haven't even hit a year yet. We're about halfway marking it right now of just the first year. And a lot of things have happened. A lot of people have been pissed off. A lot of people across different countries, different nations have been pissed off. I feel at the United States now more than ever. And I just don't know what the deal is. Only thing I can say for everyone is please be on your toes. Please be on your best behavior. Please be on the lookout for a lot of things, because I feel this isn't the last thing that he's going to do to piss off other foreign leaders. I feel that we're just still at the tip of the iceberg. There's still a lot of stuff that's still going to happen. And remember, the tariffs are still happening now. And I think that he still held the tariffs off for Canada and Mexico until a certain date. I do remember talking about that. China, he still got tariffs on them. So they're still at a standstill with China and us right now. So again, there's still a lot of stuff that isn't really being talked about like that. And again, The Elon Musk, Donald Trump thing, that's nothing but smoke and mirrors. Don't pay too much attention to that. Pay attention to the stuff that actually does matter. Because Trump and Elon going back and forth with this doesn't really matter. This was nothing but a smoke show. Remember that. This was a smoke show. Now, getting off of them, I have to talk about the man that has been brought back to the United States only to be arrested as soon as he got back here. The Washington Post would write about this. They would write the article stating, wrongly deported Salvadorian man returned to the United States charged with human smuggling. The wrongly deported Salvadorian man, whose removal to a notorious gang prison ignited a standoff between the Trump administration and federal courts, has been returned to the United States and charged with human smuggling, Attorney General Pam Bodie announced Friday. The charges against Kilmar Garcia mean he could face prosecution in the United States and possible deportation to his native El Salvador or another country. The federal indictment came weeks after the Supreme Court ordered Trump officials to facilitate Garcia's return from El Salvador, where Justice Department lawyers admitted he'd been erroneously sent. The president, his lawyers, and cabinet members had resented bringing him back, but officials said Friday he was in U.S. custody and back on American soil. Now, first off with that, hearing that, you would think, okay, he's back on American soil where he should have been, because if you remember, there was a judge that told the Trump administration they couldn't send people over there to El Salvador because the judge kind of put a halt on it, but the Trump administration still did what they wanted to do. And that's whenever a judge said, hey, yo, get homeboy back over here. And again, that's what they were just citing there. So with Garcia coming back to the States, you would think, okay, we're good. But this is where we start getting tricky. They would say in the article, the 2022 incident in Tennessee that appears to have led to the indictment initially ended with a warning from local authorities to renew his expired license. At a news conference to announce the charges, Bodie did not say when federal officials launched an investigation into Garcia or what investigatory steps occurred between the Tennessee traffic stop and his deportation to prompt the convening of the grand jury. What has changed is that Donald Trump is now the president of the United States and the borders are now secure, she said. Our government presented El Salvador with an arrest warrant and they agreed to return him to our country, the Attorney General told reporters. We're grateful to President Bukele, I'm hoping I said his name right, don't mean to disrespect, for agreeing to return him to our country. So that's where we're at right now. They're saying that he was a part of, again, helping smuggle people into the United States. Dog, this is just nasty work all on its own. This is nasty. I don't like it. I don't think anybody likes it. But again, I've said it before. I've said it when this new administration came in. This administration, Trump and his people are doing something way different than what they did the first go around. And again, I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but just like I just said previously, you guys need to look at what is being said, what is happening right now. Don't be too caught up in the smoke and mirrors that they're trying to present to you. Pay attention to the real stuff. This right here is real. The stuff that's going on surrounding this, that needs to be looked at. People that are in higher ups, like people that are high investigative journalists. I'm talking about the David Muirs, and I'm talking about the people that work under David Muir that get all the facts for David to report it. All of them need to really look into this type of thing because this just doesn't seem right. Homeboy was in El Salvador for some time. And then as soon as he gets back to the States, as soon as he touched down, yaga, we grab him up and we get him arrested for, quote unquote, helping smuggle people into the United States. Dog, if he was over there in El Salvador, we could have easily said, hey, he's over there because he helped smuggle people over here into the States. That's the reason why he's staying over there. We're going to bring him over here for trial for that. But other than that, he's staying over there. No, they brought him right back over here. And then he ends up getting arrested for this. And then guess what? They're more likely going to have a trial for him, which they're more likely might find him guilty for. And then guess what? He might be sent right back to El Salvador once again. So again, there's something more going on behind the scenes of this. And again, people could just think I'm out of my mind. But no, there's something more to this that hasn't been said. So I'm hoping that there's going to be more journalists really going into this deep and trying to find out what the true story is. And I will say to all the journalists that will be doing that, please be careful, please be safe, because again, I don't know what type of stuff will be uncovered if that ever does happen, you know what I mean? So once again, please be safe to all the journalists that might try to look into it like that. But also don't be distracted by smoke and mirrors that top brass are clearly trying to shove to everyone's face, all right? Now, moving off of political news, I want to get back to a news story that I talked about on my Wednesday episode, the Midweek Breakdown, and there's an update here. NBC News will write up saying San Antonio police walk back statement dismissing possible hate crime in Jonathon Joss shooting death. Jonathon Joss was the voice actor for John Redcorn on King of the Hill. He passed away. And initially when they said this whole thing came about, right? They said this was not a hate crime, and they got the guy allegedly that did do this. So people start coming out saying, how is this not a hate crime? He was with his husband, and from the husband's post talking about how the guy was screaming at them, saying some homophobic things, that would count as a hate crime. You basically shot my husband because he was gay. We were gay. That constitutes as a hate crime. That's kind of what it is. So here's this. San Antonio police apologized Thursday for a premature statement declaring there was no evidence of a hate crime in the death of Jonathon Joss. He was shot last Sunday, outside of his San Antonio home. His neighbor was arrested and booked on murder charge, police said. San Antonio police said in a statement the following day that despite online claims of this being a hate crime, currently the investigation has found no evidence to indicate that Mr. Joss' murder was related to his sexual orientation. That statement sparked outrage, as I mentioned. All that, right? The chief would retract the police statement on Thursday. Shouldn't have done it. It was way too soon before we had real information, and I will own that. It was way too early in the process for any statement of that nature to be issued. We understand that many in the LGBTQ community are feeling anxious and concerned. A lot of it has to do with that premature statement that we released, and again, I own that. Shouldn't have done it, he continued. He clarified that in Texas, hate crimes are not separate charges and are addressed as sentencing enhancements. We don't charge with hate crimes. We gather the facts, and we gather those facts to the district attorney's office, and that hate crime designation is determined at sentencing, but we don't charge hate crime. So he's basically trying to say is, hey, we know that if it's a hate crime, the charges or the years will be added on to it. You just would never have it on your record saying that it was a hate crime. That's my understanding of what this chief is saying, that Texas don't charge for hate crimes, which they should. It should be on someone's record saying that this was a hate crime for what you did. Same thing like Man's homeboy that did the Molotov cocktails. He should be hit with hate crimes for what he did earlier this week. That's a fact. Anybody that does anything to hate crimes, whether it's because of religion or someone's sexual orientation or because of the skin color, yo dog, that's hate crime. There's no way that it's not. But again, man, we'll have to wait and see for that. I am happy that the police chief did come back and say, Ayo, that was our bad. And he did have to clarify that, saying what he said. But we all asked for just police to come out and just take accountability for their screw up, their mistakes. And I'm glad that they did that here with this. And I'm hoping that Mr. Jonathon Joss does get some justice, because again, I stated it on Wednesday and I'll state it now. If you have a verbal confrontation with someone should never ever end up dying because of a verbal confrontation. It's only two people talking, dog. Nobody should end up dying because of two people talking. That's it. It's only two people talking. Yes, you can get irate. Yes, you can yell, curse, all that crap. But as long as no one's put hands on one another or has any fluids being exchanged, no one should be getting into any physical altercation. So, again, I'm hoping that Mr. Joss does gets some justice for his unexpected passing. That's what I am hoping for. Continuing on now, moving off of that into the entertainment piece, People magazine would write about Eminem's music publisher 8 Mile Style is suing Meta for $109 million over copyright infringement claims. The company that controls Eminem's early catalog is suing Mark Zuckerberg's technological company, 8 Mile Style, filed a lawsuit against Meta Platforms. The music publishing company has accused the tech company of copyright infringement and is now seeking over $109 million in damages, according to court documents obtained by People. 8 Mile Style alleged that Meta violated the copyright of 243 songs from his catalog. 8 Mile Style claims Meta did so through the unauthorized storage, reproduction, and exploitation of the 243 songs of the various platforms. And what the platform they're talking about is Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp. The sites claim the various applications, different features, including original audio and Reels remix, as a means to allow and encourage its users to steal 8 Mile Style music to use in their content without proper attribution or license. The suit also claims that the songs have been used in millions of videos and streams billions of times. In a statement obtained by People, a Meta spokesperson said Meta has license with thousands of partners around the world and an extensive global licensing program for music on its platform. Meta has been negotiating in good faith with 8 Mile Style, but rather than continue those discussions, 8 Mile Style chooses to sue. 8 Mile Style also claims there is a diminished value of the copyrights by defendants' thefts of them, lost profits, and defendants' profits attributable to the infringement. The company is seeking monetary damages and asks for the maximum statutory damages. Okay, so they're saying the Grammy winners company requested $150,000 for each of the 243 songs being on Meta's Instagram, WhatsApp, and Facebook, reaching a total of $109,350,000 in damages. And they're also requesting a jury trial. I mean, a jury trial would be the quickest, not to say the quickest way, but a nice way to try to do so, because a jury is the people, and the people usually sides with people more than companies, so I can see their way of why they want to do that. I don't know the legalities of copyrights and all of that. I know that whenever I've posted something before on, I believe, Instagram, they've hit me with something one time saying certain countries won't be able to hear the song that you played with your post, and they say you can either change it or you can keep it the same, but they just kind of give you a heads up about it. But yeah, that's happened to me only like once or twice. But again, I have no idea what the whole legality of it is. I just know that Eminem is saying, or his music publisher is saying that, yo, they owe us $109 million because of copyright. It's best for this. I would feel for Meta and them just to give them $109 million check. You could have did that under the table without people having to come out to hear about it, because just think about it. There's probably other people in the music industry that probably having this issue with Meta, and they're probably going to be suing Meta for the exact same thing, because once one door opens up, it allows for all the other people's doors to open up as well as having this problem. And again, this sets the blueprint of the situation. So if I was Meta, or if I was in charge of Meta, I would have just paid it. Hey man, we make a lot of money anyway. Just pay them up that, yes, we're going to take a hit a little bit, but it's better to do that under the table than for all the other people start trying to grab onto us now after they see this. So again, we'll wait and see what happens there. I'm going to be waiting to see if the jury trial actually does happen, or will Meta just cave and just give Eminem's music publisher $109 million, which that should happen. And speaking of money, I do have to make mention of this. Stephen A. He is getting to the bag. Stephen A. Smith has signed another contract, this time with Sirius XM. He will not only be doing a sports show, he'll be doing a entertainment style show, but the way which it came out wrong. Okay. Blindsided Michelle Beale rages live on air as her Sirius XM job is stolen by Stephen A. Smith. The veteran sports journalist Michelle Beale gave her Sirius XM audience a window into the chaotic industry on Wednesday, shortly after learning she was losing her job to ESPN's Stephen A. Smith. "All I ask is to be treated with respect," the blindsided host said Wednesday. Although they knew they were on their way out, Beale and her co-host, Cody Decker, didn't know they were being replaced by Smith until his interview on Sirius XM's Howard Stern earlier in the day. "Yeah, so the cat's out the bag. I guess we're going to talk about it." Beale told her audience, "We weren't supposed to. Just as a heads up, we were only given a few hours notice. But we weren't told any details. We were promised that no details will be released. We didn't even know who was taking our place in the lineup. Just that it was going to be announced that a new show was being added. Unbeknownst to us, the Hollywood Reporter, of course, had all the details." Beale continued, referring to an article about Smith's interview with Stern. "So it was a little embarrassing. I'm not going to lie. I've been in this business for 20 plus years. I've been treated poorly a couple of times, but this doesn't feel good. I'm not going to lie." So there you go. Smith recently signed a 5-year deal, $120 million extension with ESPN, but told Stern he added a pair of Sirius XM shows to his already busy schedules beginning in September. So that's one of the gigs that will be replacing Michelle Beale and her co-host. So while I'm happy that Stephen A. Smith is getting to the bag and continuing to get the money, because Homeboy has been a long-standing part of the sports business for as long as I've been alive. He's been on television and just been the guy for ESPN and all that. And with Sirius having an accoutrement of things, whether it be comedy, music, a plethora of things. Adding Stephen A. Smith to the brand isn't a bad thing. However, just the way that it came about and the way that Michelle Beale and all them weren't able to give a proper send-off to the people and say, "Hey, this is what's happening." It's nasty. It's bad. It's bad. It's just bad. I think that whenever you're being replaced in a line of work, especially after you've been somewhere for a period of time, you should be able to tell the people what's happening, let them have an easy transition, and even have the new person that's supposed to be taking over your talk show supposed to come in and just, I would think, do a interview, a sit down with them to kind of help people be brought in, to show people, hey, there is no bad blood between you, the person that's leaving, with the person that's replacing you, that type of business. Or if you want to go out in a blaze of glory, I mean, go out in a blaze of glory. You earn the right to do so because you've been there for a period of time. So again, I'm happy that Stephen A. Smith is getting to the bag, but I just didn't like that someone got blindsided. It just never ever feel good. It just isn't right. Now, moving off of Stephen A. Smith getting his money, I do have to talk about Aaron Rodgers. He will be in the NFL once again, this time for only one more year. He has signed with the Pittsburgh Steelers officially. It was reported that the veteran quarterback went to the Steelers practice facility to sign a one-year deal with the team. Pittsburgh announced Saturday the contract is worth $13.65 million, with $10 million guaranteed per multiple reports, with incentives which include playing time and team performance. The contract is worth up to $19.5 million. So Aaron Rodgers will be the quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers this year. I believe last year the Steelers had Russell Wilson. Russell's out of there, so Aaron's in. This will be Aaron Rodgers' 20th year in NFL, and I will say this right now. Pittsburgh signed him to 1-year deal. That's a great thing for them to do, because I don't think that any NFL team should be signing him to a multiple year deal. I mean, this is his 20th year in NFL. Him being a quarterback, I mean, quarterbacks are kind of like the safe position. Like, you can't really hit a quarterback so much, because if you do, you'll get flagged and that will hurt you and your team and all that type of stuff. But he's fragile. I'm just going to keep it a buck. Aaron Rodgers is fragile. he's an older man now. I don't know how this is going to work with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I hope the Steelers fans are ready for Aaron Rodgers and what else might come with them. But hey, man, Aaron Rodgers, he got to the bag. Whoever his agent was, able to get him on just a loan, $10 million alone. Congratulations for them with that. But if he gets all the incentives, almost $20 million, congrats. Again, his agent, whoever it is, great job on that. Congrats to Aaron Rodgers. And once again, Pittsburgh Steelers, I hope you guys are ready for whatever happens with Aaron Rodgers with your team. I'm just going to keep it blunt, honest with you. And before I get out of here, I do want to make mention of this because I didn't mention this earlier. CNN would report that the former Arkansas police chief who escaped from prison has been recaptured, sheriff office says. Grant Hardin, the one-time Arkansas police chief who escaped from prison where he was serving sentences for rape and murder, has been recaptured. He's been on the run for more than 10 days after breaking out of the prison on May 25th, wearing what authorities described as a makeshift law enforcement uniform. He was captured Friday afternoon, just 1.5 miles west of the prison grounds, according to a Facebook post from the sheriff's office. Tracking dogs picked up a scent in the area, and Hardin was apprehended a short time later by Arkansas law enforcement officers and U.S. Border Patrol, according to a news release from the Arkansas Department of Corrections. So he was headed back to North Central Unit, and that's where he's going to be identified via fingerprinting and physical assessments following his capture. So they got him. It is what it is. I'm happy that they got this guy because anyone that worked in law enforcement and you happen to break out of a prison, I do want you to get captured if you happen to have done that crime. Now, there's plenty of innocent people in the prison system, but if you're an officer and you have done a very, very heinous crime like this guy did, because he was serving a 30-year sentence for murder and 25 years for 2 counts of rapes, yeah, he needs to go right back in. And I'm glad that Arkansas police and Border Patrol did happen to recapture him, and he's going right back to prison. Hopefully they keep an eye out on him this time more, and he won't be able to break out. But I do want to make note of this. The 2 guys from New Orleans, they still are out. They're still out and about. I have no idea where they're at. The news kind of stopped reporting on them because they're just waiting for them to get recaptured too. But I will say they kept themselves pretty hidden, except for the one dude who had the multiple tattoos on his face, where he went on a video trying to ask for Donald Trump's help, which that was the dumbest thing ever. But they did go to the area where he did record it, and he was long gone by that time. But that was still stupid to send out a video asking for Donald Trump's help on this. That's not going to happen, dog. Just continue running. That's the only best thing I can give for you, and also to other homeboy who is really remaining low. So those are the updates right now on the guys that are still running away from the New Orleans prison. But the guy from Arkansas, the former police chief, he's been recaptured. I am happy for everyone involved in that, and I'm happy that he's going right back to prison. Now, with that stated, I think that's everything that I do want to discuss with you guys all today. So with that all being said, it is now time for me to get you guys out of here. I hope everyone has a lovely day. I hope everybody enjoyed what you guys listened to today. I would like to thank all the podcasting sites for having me up on here, whether it be Apple, Amazon, Podbean, Spotify, all other podcasting sites that you're listening to me on right now. I would like to thank all of them. And I also would like to thank you guys, the downloaders, the listeners, because without you guys, I would just be one guy talking into a void. And I really do appreciate everyone that downloads the episodes and just listen to me, just give you guys the news and give you guys my opinions on it. Whether you listen to it in the gym or at your home or in your car or just anywhere, I am glad to just know that someone is listening. Also, I would like to make mention of this. If you did take something out of this episode that was real interesting to you, please talk to someone about what you heard today. I want people to discuss what's going on in current events, whether you hear from this podcast or you hear from the news, because again, we all need to be somewhat informed of what's going on in the world right now, because when you're not informed, you're just stuck. And I don't want people to be stuck. I want people to be well informed about what's going on. I want people to know what's going on out here. So if you did take something out of this episode today and you find it interesting or intriguing, please talk to someone and get their opinions on what you heard today, okay? Now, with that stated, always remember,
I love you, I love you, I love you. I love you, I love you, I love you.
I do love you all. That is not a gimmick. I appreciate everyone that downloads the podcast. As I mentioned already, I appreciate everyone that listens to the podcast. And I want everyone to, once again, have a great and lovely day. Also, if you didn't see it on the notifications, if you're subscribed to the podcast, whether on Apple or Podbean or whatever, I did drop another wrestling podcast episode as well today, because yesterday was WWE's Worlds Collide event that they did with AAA. That's a Mexican Lucha Libre promotion. I give my review on that show, as well as I give my review on WWE's Money in the Bank, a show that happened last night later that day as well. So two wrestling shows and one wrestling podcast episode. I do have that right there for you as well. If you didn't get to see those events, one, you can go to YouTube and watch Worlds Collide. This is not an ad. I'm just a wrestling fan, and I want everyone to enjoy good quality wrestling. You can go watch that there. And Money in the Bank, it's over on WWE and Peacock. You can go and watch it there if you haven't seen it yet. But if you just don't want to see it, you just want to hear me talk about it, the episode's available to you. So I do want everyone to know about that, and I want to give you guys my schedule for this upcoming week. Wednesday, I'll be dropping another midweek breakdown episode. Thursday, I'll be dropping my Let's Have a Chat series episode where I talk about things that's going on in my mind about the world of professional wrestling. Saturday, I'll be talking about another episode of the Wrestling Highlights of the Week episode for you guys. And then Sunday, I'll be back here on the Sunday edition of the My 2 Cents podcast, where I'll be talking about everything that happened in the world and bring up some of the big news topics as I usually do. So that's my schedule for this upcoming week. I want everyone to have a great, blessed, and lovely day. This has been the My 2 Cents podcast, presented by and hosted by G2. He is I and I am him. This isn't goodbye. This is until you hear from this sweet and lovely voice again. And please do not be a dick to anyone out here. Please try to be cordial and try to be nice to people that you know and you don't know. Because you don't know with being nice to someone what that can do for their day. Because you don't know if they're having a crappy day, and you being nice to them can change the outcome or whatever the case may be. Just try to be nice to everyone that you at least come in contact with today, okay? And this week. So, with that all being stated, Kanye, could you please take these people home?
I'm tired, you tired, Jesus wept.